So let me talk to you about classroom assessment. This is what teachers do on a daily basis. I have here my old physics book, and I'm going to tell you something. This physics book, copyright is 1960, so it's probably older than most of you are. You've probably read in the paper that the Common Core and the SBAC assessments focus on critical thinking, and they're brand new. It would make you think that nobody in the world has ever done critical thinking before. So I popped open my old physics book, and it's true there are some, knowledge-based questions like what is, or those kinds, but there's a how. There are some application questions. I go through here and I'm looking at how would we calculate force if something else is happening. So, newsflash, critical thinking is not new. It's been around at least since Socrates in recorded history. Old book, nothing new there. So what can we do in terms of student assessment? Well, I'm going to talk about going old school. So what did I do from the beginning of my career? Well, first of all, classroom assessment is day-to-day. That's called formative. Formative assessment is a lot like what a coach would do. So let me tell you about the big connection between teaching and coaching. Teachers are coaches and coaches are teachers. So if you have children that are involved in sports, what do? They go to practice. What does the coach or coaches do? They observe practice. Do they then just let them go home? No. They give them feedback constantly. They may modify the practice. Okay? So it's fluid, it changes. Now the state of Idaho is talking about having a bank of formative assessments that teachers can tap into. Honestly, I don't know how that would work, because let's imagine a coach. Coach is coaching a child, and the coach realizes that something needs to be done. So does the coach go to the computer and find an app and then get back to the child, or does the coach go to that child immediately and say, hey Billy or hey Johnny, let's try this or let's try that? So, maybe I'm a little old-fashioned. Some of that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So formative assessment is powerful, and teachers can, through experience and through training and working with colleagues, remember the lesson study I talked about in the last section, this is how teachers learn to become much better at doing formative classroom assessment. The other kind of classroom assessment is called summative. This is where you put it all together. So if I'm the coach, summative assessment would be, hey, we got a game Friday night, we got to play this game. Put it all together, show me what you know, show me the results of all this practice. So what can summative assessments be? Well, the SBAC likes to portray itself as being a wonderful computer-based assessment where you can do things. And honestly, I took it. There's samples out there. You can take any grade level you want. So I thought, I'm going to try the high school math and English, and then I'm going to go back and try the 8th grade math and English. And you know what? Still multiple choice. That's not necessarily bad, but not too different from any other mass-produced assessment I've seen. It's true you could slide a few things around on screen and measure things, but in a science classroom, if my classes weren't so crowded, I could be doing lab practicals. That's one kind of a summative test. I could watch a student put an experiment together and come up with a solution to a problem. Now that's much more rich than doing something on a computer. Other kinds of summative assessments include projects or performances, speeches, fixing a car engine. So the whole multitude of wonderful talents that our students can demonstrate can be done with good classroom assessment. We can't always do that on a computer-based assessment. So I would say if we want to really improve schooling for children, there's nothing bad with becoming and going back to old school. So to all those parents out there, if you really do want to know more about testing, rather than listen to me talk about all of the ins and outs of testing, there is a very great website out there, and it's called Fair Test. And I have just a couple of samples from Fair Test. One is how standardized testing, which is similar to the SBAC, damages education. We also can talk about what's a better way. And in my third segment, I did talk about a better way, which is to focus on classroom assessment done by teachers. And the reason we can is the research is out there. The SAT only moderately predicts college success. What is the best predictor of college success out there? In fact, what is the best predictor of success in any job? It's the grades given by a teacher. So again, a little bit of information about testing. This is a great organization called Fair Test, and they have multiple handouts on any topic of testing that you might be interested in.